Alright, we are going over, in this video, Pythagorean theorem, 8 minutes. So let's see what we can do. So do you remember when we found the Pythagorean theorem, the things I used to tell you? Like the importance of identifying the right angle, putting a plus sign right there. And then asking how many sides of the triangle have. You should say 3. And these sides form how many squares? And you should say 3. I say, why 3? Because the triangle has 3 sides. And I'm like, oh, great, you're awesome. Yay. And then I would say, well, which 2 squares or the areas should you use to add? Will be added. And you'll say the squares that touch the adding square or the 90-degree angle. And that would be this square that touches the 90-degree angle and this square. And we'll have numbers like 3 and 4. And I ask you if those are root numbers or area numbers. You say, hey, those are root numbers because your unit doesn't have a 2 by it. And I ask you what the area is, and you say what the area is, and somebody will say, I don't know. And then you have to remember, if we're going from side length to the area, you will have to hit the exponent button and square it. If you're going from area to the root, you have to use the square root button of the area. So remember, this is called, well, one of the names is called the squaring button. So if you're going from side length to area, you have to use the squaring button to square it out. And if you're going from area to side length, you have to use to find the root, you have to use the square root. So if you didn't have one of these legs, areas that's formed by the legs, and you only had the area formed by the hypotenuse, you would subtract that area. Now, whatever you get when you finish the process, you find all of the roots, that is the complete and whole root. So all of this is 3, all of this side is 4, and all of this side, once we do the Pythagorean theorem, in this case, we will get 5. But now we're going to use it in the application problem. That concept, that understanding. And here we go. When we look here, we see 4 different numbers. Cool. And we want to know what is the length of the lake. Well, do we even need to do Pythagorean theorem? Is the length of our lake 24.5 feet? Or is 24.5 feet only the distance between the top of this triangle to this side of the lake? Well, that's only that distance, so that's not helping us. And then this distance right here is from the bottom of the triangle to this side of the lake, and that's only 2 feet. We know nothing of the lake, this distance here. But what if we knew the total distance from the top of the triangle to the bottom of the triangle all the way down? Like we had a big number that was the length of there. Could we figure out the length of the lake? Well, yeah. Let's call that number x. Let's say that's x. And if we do that number, this whole number, we will take x, let's say the lake, the length of the lake length, would be x, and we will subtract 24.5, and we will subtract 2, and that will give us the length of our lake, because that was the only thing that we left. But how do we figure out x? Well, when we look at this, we can use Pythagorean theorem to figure out what x is. If we make all of this side x, like we were going to, they gave us this side, which is 82.5, and the bottom, 66. And don't forget our units. And let's do the Pythagorean theorem of that. Here's our 90-degree angle. We're going to put a plus sign into it. And what are these numbers? 66, is that a root or area? What's 82.5, root or area? Well, those are root numbers. Are we going to add or subtract our areas once we find them? Well, seeing that we are have the hypotenuse or missing a leg, or both of our numbers that we'll get won't be touching our 90-degree angle, we're going to subtract. So let's make x for a, so a squared, plus 66 squared, and that will equal 82.5 squared. So let's go to our calculator. We have, clearing this out, 66. Now we can use our square button right here, and we can get 4,356 that way, or we'll say 66 times 66, which is the same thing, 4,356. So we know that one, 4,356. And that's x squared right here, plus, and now we're gonna go for our 82.5, and we're gonna hit the square button, squared, and then we have 6,806.25. So we have 6,826.5. Did I remember that right? 8,000. Oh, 860. Nope. Let's erase that. 6,806.25. And what we're going to do with those two numbers, we're going to subtract it. So minus the 4,356. Of course you don't. And that equals 2,450.25. Well, that's an area number, and so we have to go here our square root, and that gives us 49.5. So the square root of x squared and the square root of 2,450.25 is 49.50. Is that the answer to our question? Is our lake 49.50 feet? Oh no, because remember, all of this is 49.50 feet. So we have to take 49.50 and subtract 42.5 minus 2. So go ahead and do that and see what you get. I'm ending this video here.